You would think that in a day on which Donald Trump visited a McDonald's to play pretend and act like he was working, that it couldn't get any worse than that for his campaign. But no, this is Donald Trump we are talking about, and he always finds a way to humiliate himself a little bit more. And that is what he did at his town hall tonight, where we saw what we have seen for the past weeks and really months, which is the cognitive decline of Donald Trump. He was erratic, he was angry, he was aggrieved, and he was unable to speak through most of it in very key moments in which the crowd was even concerned for Donald Trump because of how much he is declining. And we are going to get into all of that. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It really goes a long way, and it means a lot to me. Now, like I said, so much cognitive decline from Donald Trump has become so apparent so fast, but of course, he wants to deflect from that, so he's saying things like this.
But the one thing they said that was great, we've watched this guy for 20 years. The one thing we know is that he's got no cognitive problem. I have no cognitive. She may have a cognitive problem, but there's no cognitive problem. It was nice that they actually said that. They said, you know, if anyone has any questions, we were grilling this guy for 2 hours or 2.5 hours. Got no cognitive. In fact, if anything, he's maybe better. I don't even know if I like this. Maybe he's better than he was 20 years ago. So anyway, no.
I don't know who is advising him on the things that he says in response to the clear concerns about his cognitive decline, but asserting that you have the best cognitive ability and no one's worried about it and that it's Kamala Harris who actually has the problem, it only makes you look worse, actually. The projection is only revealing your insecurity, and as we always say on this show, and I can hear you saying it right back, every single Republican accusation is an admission of the truth about them, and that is the truth about Donald Trump here, that he is in complete cognitive decline. And speaking of truth, we saw the opposite from Donald Trump, as we always do, when he was asked a question about Social Security and Medicare and took a really strange direction in answering it, as we can see here.
Will you commit to helping protect Social Security and Medicare benefits?
A great question. The answer is yes. And, you know, when you say fixed income, because of Biden and Kamala, nobody knows her as Harris. You know, I can't use the word Harris. And by the way,
so he's asked about Social Security and Medicare, programs he wants to destroy, and Republicans in Congress clearly have outlined that in their proposed agenda. And so he says yes, so that's the first lie. And then he says that no one knows Kamala Harris's name. It's funny. He's asked a serious policy question by someone whose life would be impacted by Donald Trump's plans to attack Social Security and Medicare. And he says, one sec, I don't care about you. First, I want to ramble about Kamala Harris and say that no one knows her name. I don't know why he continues to do this. He is caught up in so many weird lies. Of course, the McDonald's one is the clearest that comes to mind. But another weird lie that wasn't just stunning to all of us, but was stunning to the moderator of the debate. Watch her eyes as Donald Trump spreads this lie right here.
When you go to Chicago, you go to a lot of cities, and they rob a department store, and guys are walking out with refrigerators. They have it on their back with two friends, and air conditioning and everything. And they literally are stripping, and the police are standing outside, and they're shaking out of anger because they really want to do something, but they're told to stand down, stand down.
People are carrying refrigerators on their backs and police officers can't do anything. How strong do you have to be to carry or just like put it on your back and walk out? He is living in a cartoon at this point, and he's doing everything he possibly can, going as far as he can with his farces, with his lies to fearmonger, and they're just ridiculous. Almost as ridiculous as what he said right here.
Leaders in the world, and I'm not 80, and I'm not that close to 80, but in the Biden case, he's 81 or 82.
I think the exact number is that Donald Trump is 20 months away from being 80 years old. So yeah, I'd say you're pretty close to being 80 years old. But for some reason, he thinks he can lie about that. And he thinks that he can pretend that he's not the oldest candidate to ever run for president and pretend like he wasn't talking about President Biden's age as an impediment to his success as president, which it wasn't, but it surely would be for Donald Trump, someone who is in clear cognitive decline. Not like he'd have any success as president anyway. We saw 2016. We've already read this book. I don't think we want a sequel. I don't think we want any more of it. And speaking of President Biden, Donald Trump, of course, can't focus on Kamala Harris. And so before we get into his just complete verbal miscue, let's take a look at this.
I believe that Joe Biden likes me more than he likes Kamala.
It's funny for Donald Trump to project everything in his life, but clearly thinking about the rift between his vice president and himself and trying to put that on President Biden and Kamala Harris. And President Biden is out campaigning for Vice President Harris, so I don't really know what he's trying to suggest here, but it made me think. Donald Trump continues to say, oh, there should never be a coup in a party again. We should never let that happen. I think he's just worried about J.D. Vance doing that to him. I think he's worried that the Republican Party is going to try to boot him out for his cognitive ability, and that's why he's so scared. And it's the reason at cognitive decline why he is unable to speak in a clip like this.
And I'm telling you, I said it at the beginning, I'll say it again. We have more liquid, think of it, we have more gasoline and gas, and we have oil converted easily into gasoline. Also oil for your house, for your air conditioning, for your heating.
Donald Trump talks more and more about energy in his rallies because it's something easy for him to say. He can just say, drill, baby, drill. But one of the other key phrases that Trump likes to use is liquid gold. And you saw him searching for that phrase, searching for those two words when he said, we have so much liquid oil and we have so much liquid and oil and gas, and the gas is good for your home. But he couldn't think of the words liquid gold as he stumbled around over his words, clearly forgetful, clearly unfit, and clearly in cognitive decline. But even when he can land the plane on his rhetoric, it is so angry and aggrieved and awful. And that's what Kamala Harris called him out for right here.
I've known you a long time, and I know you have thick skin, but I'm not asking you as a person, because I know you're used to that. But what does it do, in your opinion, to the standards we're setting for our young people all over the country when we're using this kind of locker room street talk about an opponent for president of the United States?
So the American people deserve so much better. That's how I come at it. And to your point, the president of the United States must set a standard, not only for our nation, but understanding the standard that we as a nation must set for the world. You know, we as representing the United States of America walk into rooms around the world with the earned and self-appointed authority to talk about the importance of democracy, rule of law, and have been thought of as a role model, imperfect though we may be, but a role model of what it means to be committed to certain standards, including international rules and norms, but also standards of decorum. And what you see in my opponent, a former president of the United States, really is, it demeans the office. And I have said, and I'm very clear about this, Donald Trump should never again stand behind the seal of the President of the United States. He has not earned the right. He has not earned the right. And that's why he's going to lose.
What type of example do we think this guy is setting for our country over the past 10 years? And why, on what planet would we want to continue it? What planet would we not just want to cut it off now? One where he endangers people because of his rhetoric and is dangerous with it, always threatening, always angry, something that Gavin Newsom called him out for on Jen Psaki's show today.
Hold assistance. Is that something within your government, you know, within your team you have to plan for and think about if he's elected?
Well, it's something I don't even, not only have planned for, experienced. This is exactly what we experienced in the few years that I did work with him. I mean, this is not new. People need to understand this. We had to make calls. We had to grovel with the President of the United States, who personally needed a call to do the right thing for millions and millions of Americans. By the way, millions that actually supported him as well. He's the most un-American nominee in my lifetime. I mean, this is serious, serious stuff. He's becoming increasingly unhinged, and as the Vice President says, unstable. The unethical nature of him is next level. We experienced this, many governors, not just myself, and now he's just bloating out very much in the open and expressing themselves in a much more transparent way. Wake up to that reality.
Do we really want a president where governors of opposing parties have to worry about disaster relief again? Because we saw that with Trump. But now this is an angrier, more aggrieved Trump who would, I think, be completely unwilling to help any what he sees as blue states, even in times of disaster. And I know that's scary to us, but it's good that it's scary to voters, and we can hear that in this panel right here.
I think he's running for himself to keep himself out of jail. He's a convicted felon. I don't trust him. I don't believe he respects the Constitution. And he will come in and he will change as much as he can. And I worry will become a dictatorship in the United States.
She snagged that dictatorship word from me right before I was going to use it. And, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if he tries to pass a thing where he can stay president for the rest of his life. Yeah.
We don't want a dictator. We don't want a fascist. We don't want someone attacking our democracy. And we don't want someone holding the whole country hostage with their own hostilities. And that's why on November 5th, we have to turn out for Kamala Harris or before. If your state is voting early, please go out and vote early. I encourage everyone to do it. And if you've already voted, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear. I'm so excited if someone has already gotten the chance to vote for Kamala Harris. And we're going to talk about that every single day on this show. And if you want to support it, as always, you can hit that subscribe button. You can leave a like on this video. And if you stuck around at the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. Until next time, I'll see you soon.